up, athletes? All right. This is 9.3.2, day 2. Graphing linear and nonlinear inequalities. And today's EQ is, what if the inequality is not linear? What if the inequality is not linear? What happens then? Well, let's find out. First, we are going to start with a linear inequality, but I want to talk to you guys about this. So take a minute. If you haven't, pause me, read this. Go ahead right now. I'm assuming you paused and read this. Could be ignorant, but hey, you know what? I think the best of you. I'm going to read it to you, though. It says this. It says, one of the purposes of the United Nations is to have nations work together to help each other. This is true. Recently, the members of the UN decided to give grants to poor countries to help reduce poverty. However, the UN only has the resources to help those countries with the greatest need. Therefore, it was decided that only the countries in which the number of the people in poverty is more than 1/2 of its total population would receive aid. Let X represent the population. So where's population? Right here, X. Let Y be the number of people in poverty, so Y. Okay? Write an inequality that represents the criteria to receive foreign aid. Let's see. What does this say? So we're cutting out all this stuff. All this stuff is great, but this is the part that really matters. The number of people in poverty, so Y, is more than. What's the sign we use for more than? Greater than. 1/2. That sounds good enough. Of its total population. Remember, in math, of means multiply. So times the total population. Look at that. Y is greater than 1/2 X. Now, first of all, what does it say to do? Carefully graph your inequality from part A on the data graph below. Which countries should receive foreign aid? You're going to need a straight edge or a ruler to do this correctly. Get my straight edge out. That's not that straight. Just a second. This is broke one. It's the straightest one I got. All right. So, okay. Now that we have our equation, let's look at this. Carefully graph your inequality from part A on the data graph below. Which countries should receive foreign aid? So we got our Y right here and our X. And if it's Y equals 1/2 X, or greater than 1/2 X, think of it in terms of Y equals MX plus B. There's no B value, which means it's 0. So we're going to start off at 0, 0. And then 1/2 X means up 1 over 2. So I can go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Now, when you have a big graph like this, guys, sometimes put that into practice. Up 1 over 2 is the same as up 10 over 20. What I mean is I can go up 10 and I can go over 20. Boom. It also means the same as up 20 over 40. So I can even go all the way over to here. Make sure help this to carry my line up all the way. See how I did that? And those are going to line right up. So let's draw our line. And by the way, what kind of line are we going to draw? Boom, dashed. I always label it because sometimes I forget and I draw a solid. But if I've labeled it, at least I know. If you label it, at least I know you know what you're thinking. Even if you did it wrong. See how that just lines right up? So we're going to have a nice dashed line. Okay, so there we go. What does it say? Which countries should receive foreign aid? Funny thing about this, remember, it's a dashed line, which means if any country is on the line, it doesn't count. We want everything greater than. So if it's greater than, then that means that their poverty is too big. So which countries to receive aid? Let's see. We're going to get, how about Honduras? That looks like it, Honduras. Anything else? Look at Rwanda, except Rwanda's right on that line. I'm not going to count it, guys. It's on that line. Same thing up here with Peru. It's either on or under that line. So there's just, that's not going to count because on the line doesn't count. It has to be above it. So that leaves Zambia. Madagascar. Madagascar. Best play ever. Uganda. All right. The rest, their property is not quite enough there to meet it. So this is kind of cool because this is a real type of math problem that's used to solve issues. Now, granted, it's much simplified. There's many more factors into it, but it's still pretty awesome to see that math is used around the world in situations such as this. So now we're going to talk about some things because that's a linear inequality. What if it's not? Let's get into that. What if an inequality is instead quadratic? Remember to use your shortcuts. So, for ax squared, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. C is the y-intercept. The midpoint of the x-intercepts is both the line of symmetry, LOS, and the x value of the vertex. Add yourself one other dot, plug in the x value and solve for y. Solve for y. Maybe you'll write it better than me. So, the midpoint of the x-intercept is both the line of symmetry, right? That midpoint, that x value in between the two x-intercepts is not only the line of symmetry where it goes through, but it's also the x value of the vertex. And to get the y value, plug in the x value and solve for y. So, let's go ahead. Oh, we have some more over here. And then we're going to identify the x-intercepts. We're going to choose dashed or solid line to graph the inequality, and we are going to shade the appropriate region. So, we're going to identify the y-intercept, we're going to find the line of symmetry between, or we're going to identify the x-intercepts, then we're going to find the line of symmetry, use that to solve for the vertex. We need to choose whether it's dashed or solid line, and then shade the appropriate region. So let's look at y is less than x squared minus 4x plus 3. Everybody should write y-intercept over here, colon, we put a 0 in for x because we know it's 0. X-intercept, we're going to assume there's 2. So we're going to put zeros in for y. Our LOS, and then our vertex, right? Those are the points we know, or we want to know. Okay, let's see what we need to do. So for x, y is less than x squared minus 4x plus 3. So before, oh, I realize you guys aren't really seeing this, so I'm sorry. I've just been writing this down. Here you go. Take a minute, pause it if you need to. But let's look at this. So I've written down my y-intercept, my x-intercept info, my line of symmetry, my vertex, boom. All right. I'm going to start off with a generic rectangle and diamond. And I've got what? X squared. In fact, why don't we pause this? You guys can go ahead and work it out with me. Boom. Identify your x-intercepts. Your y-intercept you should already know. Find your line of symmetry value, plug that into the equation to get the y value for the vertex. All right, I'm going to unpause it, so if you need to take more time, go ahead and wait, but here we go. Boom. Let me move stuff out of the way for you guys. Actually, you know what I can do also? Watch this, watch this. What? Okay. So just looking up here, see what I did? First of all, we just write down 0, 3, because our C value tells us what it is, right? That's what we learned up here. C value is the y-intercept. And then I do the generic rectangle and diamond. I get down to x minus 1 times x minus 3, which is just x equals 1 and 3. So I'm going to plug that 1 and 3 in for the x-intercepts. And then for my line of symmetry, I add my x-intercepts together and divide by 2, and I get 2, so I put it here. Plug 2 into the original equation. Now notice, I know it's y is less than, but I am right now just trying to find out. I'm treating it like a y is equals, so I can find out what the value of that vertex is, which is -1. Now let's go ahead and graph it. So we have y-intercepts at 0, 3, 1, 2, 3, boom. X-intercepts are at 1, 0, and 3, 0. Makes sense, the right in between there is 2, and it should be at 2, -1 is the x-intercept, and also, or the vertex. Also the line of symmetry goes through that, and think, if it reflects across there, like this is 1 away, which is 1 away from there, so since this point is 2 away, let's go over 2, put another point. Yeah, we can always kind of cheat sheet our way there. And there it is. Now, does anybody spot what I did wrong? It should be dashed. If you ever make that mistake, I do it all the time, guys, so I'm just so used to it. Find some way to mark it so that we get it right, because it should be dashed. You got to somehow indicate, so I know what it is. Then it says y is less than, which means we put our pin on the line and we go down, so I'm going to shade this outer region. Boom. Look at that. And that is how you graph an inequality that is nonlinear. All right. Crush today's lesson. You got some homework questions on back. Work them out. Peace out.